2, 1, and. Ladies and gents, hello from V8, where I am recording this particular team's tutorial ready for our 2 weeks, and hopefully 2 weeks only, of remote learning. In this tutorial, we are going to take a look at sharing lesson materials through Teams in a way that your notes and presentation can be left behind. Specifically, we're using Class Notebook. If you are yet to open Class Notebook, then please go back a few tutorials. There are only 2 uploaded so far on that particularly relate to Teams, so please watch those guys first. When you've watched them, you should have a Class Notebook activated, and when you have a Class Notebook created and activated, you're going to be ready for this tutorial. We are going to dive straight in. Now, today, the ultimate poshness has been achieved. If I press F14, then I will be able to show you a team from the student's point of view, and if I press F15, I will be able to show you a team from a teacher's point of view. Now, this is a team that's been set up in collaboration with one of our training partners that Harold and I have been looking at trainings with, so that we can do exactly this and not have to worry about GDPR or kind of how we show you things on Teams. Wherever the menus are in Dutch, I have a note of their English names, so that should be reasonably straightforward. Now, we'll start off in the teacher's point of view. I find myself here in my class team and entering the class notebook. As ever, I can take myself to, here we go, an overview by clicking on the what I think looks like kind of a bookshelf item here. Now we're going to look today at how we can use this a little bit more like a notebook. Now, you have 2 choices when you do this. You can either use the teachers only space, here shown as alleen docenten, or you can use the collaboration space, the samenwerkingsruimte. If you choose to use the samenwerkingsruimte and make notes in a notepad, then obviously students can see those notes as they are being produced. However, you rely on the synchronizing speed of Teams. Now, don't want to be pessimistic, but if I was you, I wouldn't be relying on the synchronizing speed of Teams, because it's going to differ for individual students. It's going to differ on their, their Wi-Fi and everything else. To my mind, the safest route to do this, if we're going to share notes during teaching, is to go to teachers only, to find a tab. If there isn't a tab, you can create one easily just by clicking in that space. And I'm going to delete this page. Don't like it, I just right clicked it, permanently delete it, whatever people, and I'm going to create a brand new page. I'm going to call it today's notes on seasons. Now, inside this space, you can leave notes for students. You show this to them whilst you're working on it, because someone else is editing it. It's interesting. We'll let that be for now, because I'm the only person who's editing it. I'm convinced of that. Now, as we go along, I have the option ordinarily of screen sharing exactly what it is that I'm doing. So I would be in conversation with my class in Teams. I will have screen shared, and let's just go through this one more time. I will have started by opening my directory within Class Notebook, going into teachers only, because this way the kids can't interfere with what I'm doing, creating a page to take my notes in, and you can see that the whole menu thing is open here. It's kind of unhandy, so I'll click that away using the books on a bookshelf logo, and we're ready to go. Now, I screen share with students. They can see what I'm making as I make it. There are a few nice little things that you could do. I mean, obviously you can write them things. Notes for students are here, smiley face. Okay, you have the option to draw if you want to. Now, for those of you with graphics tablets, this is going to be handy. For those of you with any form of talent, this is going to be handy. I belong to frankly neither of those categories. This is not something that I'm going to be doing. But if you wanted to, you could draw it. There's also a maths option that you can explore here, but the maths department have other ways of doing this, so I'm not going to go into it because maths department are obviously as well informed as anyone needs to be about the online teaching of mathematics. What else can I do here? Well, I can insert things, and inserting things is kind of handy. If I want to insert a picture of something I have with me, I can insert it from the camera. It's kind of handy. Here I am. Maybe I want to use understanding geology to add in some diagrams of things. Let's have a look. A lovely map here of things to do with Britain. To be fair, you guys are doubtlessly going to need to use your talents a lot better than I am, but let's just imagine that you wanted to insert a picture of something quickly from your webcam. This would be how you did it. If you were working in the collaborative space, then students would see this thing being uploaded in front of them as we went along. Here, I'm building it in such a way that students should be able that you'll be able to distribute it to students as you go. So obviously it's going to take its time. Since this is a tutorial, then why on earth would it work normally? Please do trust me, people. The school Wi-Fi is the worst. This will work nicely at home. You can also insert a file, and this is something that I think is most useful. Now, let me show you why. I'm going to just delete this chap out. There we go. I'm going to shrink that down and look into my PowerPoint. Because let's imagine that I want to present a PowerPoint as part of my lesson. I love PowerPoints. It's not something I'm proud of, but you know, we'll admit these things from time to time. If I want to insert this nicely, what I'm going to do is I'm going to export it as a PDF. Yay! Export it to my desktop. Seasons, student-led PDF. I've used this because I think it's literally the nicest PowerPoint that I've made this month. It followed a question with one of my IS7 classes. What, sir, how do students work? No, students, obviously they know how students work. How do seasons work? So I'm going to take that and I'm going to insert it. So I'm going to insert a file. I'm going to insert a file printout. And I'm going to choose it from my desktop because I'm lazy. I'm going to go to all my files. That epically didn't work, did it? Let's go back again. Student-led PDF. I'm going to insert it. Now you can see there's a whole bunch of things that you can insert if you particularly wanted to. You can insert a link, you can insert some audio if you want to record things for the students. So let's imagine you were reading something out loud that you wanted the students to have access to afterwards. Then you would be able to insert the audio there. You can insert symbols, emojis. I'm sure that, you know, feel free to just go and have a little bit of a click through, etc. Now, on the way down, why is this useful? Well, for starters, I'm leaving it behind for students. I'm going to be able to share it as we go. I've got my things in. So it's an image of the file, so don't expect to be able to click or interact with it. Another thing, though, that is a little bit nice, if I might, is the ability to draw on top of it. So on the way through, maybe I'm talking to you guys about collecting, measuring, and presenting data. So first, measuring data. Measuring data is the most important thing to do to answer a question in science. Maybe collecting data should be done in a table. First we measure, then we collect, and then we present. You at least have the option to overdraw it. You have the option to leave some text boxes behind. You have the option to leave some notes as you go through in a way that is going to be kind of immortalized for the students afterwards. Now, screen sharing allows you to show this. There we go, with our little full screen, not full screen button. Then it fits itself nicely to the width of what you're doing. It allows you to a certain extent to prepare your PowerPoint beforehand or prepare your lesson materials beforehand, export them as a PDF. It gives you the opportunity to draw things. It gives you the opportunity to leave a text box behind. Actually, the link is here. And then to copy and paste it in, if you would like to. Now, so far so good, right? You have this space, you are teaching along, you've called them in Teams, they've all answered, they're being well behaved, no one's muted anyone, etc. And you've exported your PowerPoint as a PDF, you've inserted it into this space. You've gone along, you've put notes in, you've done various different things. Let's go home. And you want to share it. In fact, I want to sneak one extra thing in, if you guys don't mind. I found this out this morning. And for me, it's worked really nicely. Let's imagine that I don't want to sit there typing at the same time as I'm talking. This is a little bit of risk-taker behavior, because you never know how it responds to what you say. But if I click the dictate button, you can see that Microsoft is doing literally a fantastic job of understanding what I have to say to it and writing it down for you. Full stop. New paragraph. Ha! Lolcats. It's even done it with a Z. I'll turn my dictate off and happy days. Maybe you guys want to make use of this, maybe you don't, but I think it's so cool. I think it's a nice little thing. It's also something the students can use if they want to. Now, so far so good, he says, optimistically. I've made today's notes on seasons, right? Here they are. They're in my teachers only space, Alain Docente, teacher only, but no one can see it at the moment. And that's rubbish, okay? Now, if I want to, I can move it to the content library, the in-house bibliotheek, or I can send it to all of the students. So here's Niels van Beers, who is a student, or here's SV Training 12, who is a student. And FYI people, I am also SV Training 12. So, let's see what happens. I'm in my notes. I go to the class notebook tab, and I want to distribute page. And I want to distribute it to everyone. Safety first, right? Don't want anyone to miss it. Cross notebook distribution. Now, in my special case, because I'm in this sort of like weird environment, I have two choices. Realistically, you'll be able to see the class that you want to share it to. I just have to remember that I'm sharing it to class notebook on even nummers docent, because I'm teacher number 5. So I'm sharing it out to all the students who live in here. You guys, obviously, this is just going to be like the name of your team. So if you're teaching IS7D, it's going to be the IS7D team. I hit next. And where do I want to put it? Handouts, homework, notes, or quizzes. Obviously, you guys have your sections set up as you want them, and most certainly not in Dutch. But I'm going to put it in handouts, and I'm going to distribute it. Now here we go. It waits to start. It waits to complete. It takes its way through. And here we go. It's getting there. It's getting there. It's getting there. See, even under suboptimal conditions, it doesn't take an embarrassing amount of time. Now, I'm going to switch to my student view by pressing F14 about 5 times to make sure it's definitely there. And here I am. I'm here as a student. I'm in the, this is how students see our spaces. So, just very quickly. Hi Ben, I'm writing this as a teacher. Check your handouts. Here we go. Hi Ben, check your handouts. Oh my goodness, I'm such a conscientious student. I'm going to do that straight away. I go to my class notebook. I go into my own folder. I go to my handouts. Moment of truth, people. I click handouts and I find today's notes on seasons. Now, these are the notes that I've made as a teacher in the class just now, and I've shared them out to the class as I went along. Now, obviously, this has been used as a test space by a lot of other people, so Mr. Otches has used it, somebody called Guido has posted notes about Anne Frank, some keynote called Ben has posted twice in here. We'll ignore him. Now, happy days, right? The student can go further with this. The student can add their own note. Ha, lolcat. I don't think so, sir. You should take life more seriously. Pretty judgmental kid that we're dealing with. I'm going to have the students make all their notes in green so I can see what they've written. Or even worse, I'm going to have them highlight it in yellow so I can see what they've written. Now, how can I see that students have interacted with this? Well, let me press F15 a few times, and hopefully we're back to the teacher's view. I go back into my class notebook. I go into my wonky bookshelf section, and the student SV Training 12, which is probably going to be like a normal student's name, I go into their handouts if I've asked them to make notes in the handouts. And opening today's notes on seasons, I see an extraordinarily rude message from the student. So I'm going to hang up now, guys. I'm going to go and call their mum. So I hope that this was some use. I hope that you can figure out a way maybe to include this with your class. And if I press F13, that should show you the webcam. And it's goodbye from me, and we'll see each other soon.